Imagine walking into a room and before you even say a word, people take notice. Your presence speaks volume, your confidence, unbreakable. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today's guest is here to turn that dream into a reality. Welcome to our show where we decode the secrets to confidence, personal branding, and success. And today we have a powerhouse guest, an image consultant, soft skills trainer, entrepreneur who knows exactly how to help you own every room you enter. Give it up for the one and only Miss Twinkle Shah.
Thank you so much, Aradhna, for having me here. I'm really grateful to NIMCJ, National Institute of Mass Communication and Journalism. And I'm excited today to share my insights and help everyone out there who's looking to build up their confidence or excel in their soft skills.
Great. So let's dive right in. You know, they say you only get 7 seconds to make a first impression. Some even say it's as quick as a blink of an eye. So tell us what exactly happens in those first few seconds.
Okay, so it's not just a rumor. It's definitely science, and it's a brutal science. People take only 3 to 7 seconds to judge you consciously or subconsciously. You can't help, you can't deny. You cannot not communicate. Be it your appearance, whenever you walk into a room, starting from your appearance, which is the visual identity that you are spreading around, your behavior, your communication, your posture, your body language, everything sends some kind of message to the receiver. So you cannot help, and people are judging you on the basis of how much they want to pay attention to you, what credibility they will assign to you, and how much confident or appropriate they think you are for what they are looking for.
Okay, that was a valuable insight. Okay, and what's the biggest mistake people make when trying to create a strong first impression?
It's overdoing, trying too hard to create that first impression. Because here the idea is not to impress, but to throw an impact. So you need to own that presence, and it should reflect subtly in how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, how you dress yourself, how you speak, how you walk, how you talk, everything.
Right. How much does color impact perception? For example, does wearing red actually make you look more confident?
Of course. What color? Tell me, what color do you think am I wearing today?
Maybe it's a shade of brown.
No, it's a shade of red.
Okay.
So from the primary colors, when we add black and white, we get various hues, tints, shades. It's a big science, color analysis. But yes, every color tells a story. Of course, the color has to be in harmony with your personal colors, which is your skin, hair, eye color, as well as what kind of role you are playing in your life, who you are going to meet, and what objective you are looking for. Every color will send out a message. So for example, red definitely exudes a lot of power and confidence. And if you want to throw out power and confidence but don't want to intimidate the other person, you settle down the shades of red. Similarly, there are various colors, like navy is for trust and leadership, white is for clean and clear professionalism and elegance, red again, like we discussed, is for power and confidence, black is for authority and sophistication.
So the color that I am wearing, what does it reflect?
Okay, so orange again is a very vibrant color. So it exudes a lot of energy. It is the color that comes out from the sun. So whenever we see, we all connect with nature. We are brought up and we have seen things from nature.
Right.
So we are conditioned in a way that we'll associate various energies and emotions to certain things that we find in nature, even the contrasts and everything. So when I look at you, the orange sends out such a vibrancy in your nature that definitely doesn't overpower with a kind of red, neither does it dull down. If you added some black to it or a gray to it, it will dull down the orange and bring down the energy. But it's a perfect match suiting your skin. Super.
So color theory is really important.
Yeah, it is important, but you should use it wisely as to what message you want to communicate. Accordingly, you should choose the colors. Plus, you should consider what personal colors you personally are and how to harmonize that. And then you can create the impact that you want to create.
Right. How do facial expressions influence and how are they perceived?
So whenever I see a person, even before this person speaks anything, first is the visual image that comes into our mind when we see them walking inside. Then is the face that we focus on. So a person might appear snobby, A person might appear very confident. A person might appear very rude, authoritative, childish. All these things, without even saying a word, we assess from the face itself. Okay, so it is very, very important what expressions you are giving out. So if I want to show authority, I cannot go on with a giggling smile on my face. While if I am somewhere and I want my staff or my team members to feel friendly with me, I cannot have a stern look on my face. So I have to control my facial expressions.
Okay, another question. What's the hardest lesson you have learned in your entrepreneur journey?
Okay, I'm still learning many lessons, of course. The hardest lesson, okay, being a soft skills trainer, one of the best soft skills is communication, and active listening is a major part of it. But when it comes to my entrepreneurial journey, listening to everybody's advice was the worst mistake I have made and was the hardest thing I faced, because everybody gives me the advice from their own perception. They don't know what factors I'm facing, what obstacles I'm facing, what are the resources available to me. Depending on that, I need to take my own decisions. I cannot keep on listening to everybody. So I made mistakes listening to everybody and then fumbled up with my decisions. So to all the young entrepreneurs out there, I would say, believe in your idea and stick to whatever you are looking up to. You can consider advices, take into consideration, but don't just go for it.
Also, I've noticed in today's context that people say vibe match nahi ho rahi hai. So what is that? Like, how to do that? How to cooperate with the person when he or she says that vibe match nahi ho rahi hai?
Okay, so here the soft skill that comes into picture is emotional intelligence. It is about reading the emotions of the other person. I really believe in vibe, and it is one word I often use. Vibe match karo in so many of my seminars and sessions. When it is about creating an executive presence in front of a group or a person individually, yes, matching that person's vibe is very, very important. But for that, you need to read the other person. Is that person really very energetic? Is that person really very positive today? Is that person really negative or too angry or too seeming, out of the place? Something you have to read that person first and try to match that. Match that not in the sense if that person is angry and feeling negative, we also start becoming negative. Matching in the sense if that person is feeling, we feel he's negative or he's angry with the management, what we are doing here. How do I bring it in front of him? I should exude a vibe that is very, very positive, try to make him comfortable and match the energy. So definitely vibe match karna is important, but if you want to achieve your goal, try to read the other person's vibe.
So matching the vibe is matching the energy. Keep that in mind. Yes. Okay. How can introverts leverage their strengths in networking situations?
Soft skills are skills which can be learned, and it does not mean if somebody is an extrovert, he is naturally good at networking or mixing up with people. If he speaks inappropriate, he may lose the network or the conversation or the person. For introverts, it is practice learning those skills. There are simple changes in your body language, in your dressing, in your communication. If you work on that, you can definitely on point make that work for you as a game changer.
Okay, great. Now we'll be playing a fun game.
Okay.
In which I'll give you a scenario and you tell us what's wrong and how to fix it. Done. Ready? Okay. The first scenario is a CEO walks into an investor meeting wearing hoodie and sneakers.
The outfit screams, I came to the meeting by mistake. So the entire team would not take him seriously. Just as we discussed the vibe, the casual vibe will pass on to the investors, and the office culture and everything, they won't find him serious. Just like if I would go with these stilettos to a marathon and something is not right, it's not in harmony.
Okay, second scenario.
Okay.
A job applicant keeps saying words like and like, actually, every 2 seconds.
Yes. So using these words like everything sends a message that you are unsure about what you are saying. So in case you forget something, you are not sure, taking a pause, a silent pause is a much better solution. So take pauses when you are confused. Don't drag your noises.
Right. Scenario 3, someone wants to appear more confident but feels awkward making eye contact.
Okay, so for eye contact, when we look into the other person's eye is when we feel nervous, like the other person is looking back into our eyes. So as trainers, what we teach is this is the area of power gaze, the two eyes and the center, the Trinetra. So if you start, when I'm talking to you, if I am feeling nervous, I need not look directly into your eyes. I may look right in the center of your eyebrows. That would make you feel as if I am having an eye contact with you, but it does not give me the expressions you are sending me directly right away. So that helps me have my poise and control within myself.
A sales rep wears overpowering cologne or perfume to a client meeting.
Oh my God, first of all, I would really find him gross. And anybody who's wearing very strong perfume or cologne, I would say most of the people are allergic, so you definitely turn them off. And immediately the focus of the other person, rather than paying attention to what you are trying to sell or what you are trying to say, they're confused and irritated by the smell. So that definitely affects your objective. And if you've used strong deo or something, please go to the washroom, use a wipe, clean it off, or else, yes, there is no other fix but to change your outfit.
Okay, next scenario. A CEO uses too many hand gestures during a boardroom meeting.
Again, this will confuse everybody who's listening to him. So if the CEO wants that, he wants to command attention and authority, he will have to control his gestures, and the best way is to keep your hands locked in a steeple position, because it will make it harder for you to leave it again and again and, you know, keep on doing a lot of things or pointing at somebody. So it is trying to control that, and with practice, of course.
Now I'll ask the questions about soft skills which are capable of unlocking the doors of communication. Question 1. We always hear about degrees and technical skills, but soft skills, they are the real game changers. In your opinion, what are the 3 top skills?
Okay, technical skills get you hired, but it's the soft skills that can get you promoted. Okay, and you land better chances if both of us are having same technical skills or same degrees. The one who is master at soft skill will be selected first. The first would be the executive presence, where you are going, who you are going to meet, what you are going to discuss, and what is your objective there. Accordingly, your appearance should be in harmony with that. So appearance would include your dressing, your grooming, your body language, your posture, your face expressions, everything. Top second soft skill is persuasive communication. You know, it's just not speaking, not selecting the right words, it's how you say it and where and when to put certain pauses, some words, how to be more assertive. So persuasive communication is the second most soft skills that I would suggest. Third, without a no, is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence works both for yourself and reading the room and everybody else. When you understand your own emotions and know how to deal with them, your success rate multiplies. And reading everybody around you and their emotions, from what angle they are, from what place they are coming, how they are behaving, why they are behaving. So if you understand all of this, you can get your work done much easily.
So, okay, that's cool. What's one soft skill you personally struggled with and had to master over time?
It's active listening. So definitely I was someone who loved to speak all the time. And in that love of speaking, I would forget to listen to others, which I have practiced after being a trainer and during my journey of becoming a soft skills trainer, that listening is very, very important. I cannot keep on speaking unless when I'm paid to speak on the stage. I have to listen to understand the other person, to give that respect and that importance to others, so that I can create an impact that everybody matters and I get that in return.
So it is important to be a good listener.
It is a must-have.
Okay. All right, it's time for myth or fact.
Okay.
I'll say a statement and you will tell me if it's a myth or a fact.
Okay.
With a short reason.
Okay.
Okay, let's get ready.
Yes.
Dressing well is more important than speaking well.
It's a fact, because first, people are not going to hear you speak unless you are a radio jockey. They are going to see you visually and then hear you. So the first impression will be created by dressing. So dressing is much more important than speaking. It goes first.
Okay. extroverts are naturally better at networking?
No, just like we discussed earlier, it's a myth, because if they don't know when to speak, what to speak, and how to speak, they would lose over the introverts who know when, how much, and how to speak the right things at the right moments.
Do you think introverts are a good listener as compared to extroverts?
Of course, because they would keep mum. But active listening is a huge topic. It is not just appearing, sitting here to be listening to you. It's also really listening, understanding, giving back some facial expressions or some gestures, or in between some tweaks like, oh, I understand.
Okay, next one. Confidence is something you are born with. You either have it or you don't.
Have you heard so many people say, "Mera confidence toot gaya"? He or she broke my confidence. So if something can be broken, it can be broken only if it could be built. So confidence is something you can build on. It is not a personality trait you are born with. It is a skill that can be learned. And there are simple little things you can start with just by dressing right, keeping your postures correct, and learning to speak well. Your confidence level can go from 0 to 100. So just pull back your shoulders, chin up, straight spine. Just go there, walk into the room, and you own the space.
Right. Okay. Dressing in black always make you more professional.
It's not just professional. Of course, black is a color that brings in all the colors. Again, there is a science. So it feels very, very deep and substantial. So anything that is more substantial and deep will throw out more authority and more professionalism. So in case you are a color lover like me and you want to wear different colors, yes, there is a science to it, and you can work on different colors to how to make them look more professional to you. So only black shows professionalism is not correct, but you can work colors to make them look
So
professional.
it is a myth.
It's a myth.
Wearing glasses make you look more intelligent and credible.
It again depends on what kind of personality you have, what kind of face shape you have, what kind of physical features you have. Depending on that, and what kind of glasses you are wearing, can make you look more intelligent or no. Someone might look foolish if the glasses don't suit them, but someone may look more professional.
Okay, next one. If you don't make a great impression, you can never change it.
Yes, I feel so, because a Harvard study says it takes almost 8 interactions, that is more than 15 to 20 minutes with somebody, to reverse a bad first impression. Okay, and in this fast competitive world, I don't think people will give you that much of time just to reverse the first impression that you failed at making a good one. So definitely, yes, it's hard to change. It is not absolutely impossible to reverse your first impressions, but you'll practically know you can't change your first impressions, because these days people will not give you that much amount of time and opportunity unless it's a loved one.
Right. Okay, before we wrap up, what's your one golden rule for someone who wants to transform their confidence?
Okay. First thing is, start believing in yourself. And it is such a cliche statement, but we forget believing in yourself is the self-talk that we do with ourselves. We constantly keep on telling ourselves negative things. The day you start changing your negative talks to positive talks, you start believing in yourself. And then there are simple tweaks, just like I said, start dressing up well for what objective and what role and goal that you have in your life. Start working on your body language. Simple little changes, having your spine straight, walking straight, sitting straight, being focused, your chin high, making eye contacts when you're talking to that person, and learning communication skills. So A, B, and C, it's your appearance, your behavior, and your communication. It's the golden rule.
All right. I would also like to ask you that who is that person or personality or celebrity, let's say, that could be a role model, who is a master of all these skills?
There are many. I think everybody, only the person who masters this can become a celebrity. You won't find any celebrity who is not paying attention to his dressing, to his behavior, or to his communication. Be it Mark Zuckerberg, who you always see in a simple black t-shirt and jeans, but still he'll never be inappropriately, with the t-shirt not tucked in properly, or his hair is not groomed properly, or he's not walking properly or speaking properly. For that matter, every celebrity uh, is on point working on his or her own A, B, and C, that is appearance, behavior, and communication.
Right. Still, if I want you to name one, who would that be?
For me, that would be really tough, but definitely as a female idol, if you say, Sushmita Sen was one who inspired me when I was a teenager.
Oh, I love her
Okay,
voice.
yes. So how she carries herself, her personality, how she speaks, how she dresses up, being authentic to her own nature is something that has helped her win hearts all over the world. And if we come to male, Amitabh Bachchan is one person I really look up to.
Okay.
And there's one more person I want to name is Michelle Obama.
Right.
Especially to Indians, I want to share this example. She being really dark skinned, her features being a kind of features which Indians would never accept. But if you look at her, at any picture of hers or any presence that she has made, she commands attention and she owns her presence in any room she walks into. It is only and only because how she dresses, how she walks, how she carries herself, and how she communicates.
Thank you for an amazing conversation. And to our listeners, if you love this podcast or this interview, you can find Twinkle Ma'am on her Instagram account. I'll mention the Instagram account over here. It is twinkle_image consultant. So do follow her and stay bold, stay confident. See you next time. Thank you.